Okay. Portapower commercial Hoover. This particular model is the ch30000. There's another one that's exactly like it with a different model number, but there's nothing different. This one I fixed before, I think, but it was the wire. When the cleaners do a lot of cleaning, they break the wire, so I gotta reattach them. Maybe I didn't do this one before. Doesn't matter. Anyway, this time it is not the power cable that is broke. You can listen. That is a shot bearing. Shot bearing. And the best thing to go, the best thing in the world is the two bearings on that motor are fidget spinner bearings. I'm not going to use exact fidget spinner ones, but these are, it's the same bearing that's in a fidget spinner, but these I'm going to use are sealed, both sides sealed. The bearings that are in that motor are sealed, but it's plastic. It's plastic sealing the bearings, and they wear out, overheat, the plastic opens up, and the bearings just go shot. Usually I just replace one side bearing because that's the one that's bad. So let me take this apart and see what's going on. But these are fidget spinner bearings. They're also roller skate bearings. They're used everywhere. Where is it on here? Where's the name on these things? I don't know if that's the number. Oh, I just put the thing down. Zoom into it. Yeah, bro. Whatever that is, I forget. Something Z. What are they? 808s? NSK. You don't love me. 608s. 608Zs. NSK 680Zs. Ones. Whatever. These bearings are also in power tools. They're in everything, these bearings. Gotta love them. I got like a whole ream of them. Here's a nice view. Yeah, lucky that didn't catch on fire, huh, bro? That definitely should be the bearing. I think the motor's wobbling inside and hitting it. Hopefully it still has enough power when I replace a bearing. Magnetic power spin. Alright, this is the motor. Surprised, this is 6 years old, this motor. I've repaired some that are a lot older. And taking this motor apart, well, I disconnected one of the wires that was there. Not a big deal. Leaving this one, I couldn't. And I have to undo these crimps all the way. Oh, I can't see them. All the way around. So the metal come off, and then this screw comes out, and this screws out. Those two screws come out, and just gets down. It looks like this rear bearing is bad, because see, that's not in the middle, and that's where we saw most of the flames coming. The rear bearing is a pain in the ass, but I think if it's shot, I should be able to pop it out. And all right, so this will come off, and then to get this bolt off, I use my impact. Let me see if I can get this thing to come off. Let me see if I can balance my phone. Watch me get it off. Yeah, okay, that came off. So, I'm going to put on a glove. I'm going to put a glove, hold this, and then hit the nut with my impact. I'm not going to do that while holding the phone. And that's how I'll get this off. and then the motor, after I took those outside bolts off the motor, will pull out. And okay, all right, this nut is, I believe, 7/16, and when you take it off, it's counterclockwise, so this needs to spin as if you're tightening it. Okay, brah. I don't think there's any way for me to find this unless I find something tricky like this. I hold this, and I put this on here. And, oh wow, that's cool. That nut came right the fuck off. Alright, you see that. Got a live-in pack. That comes right off. And then we're over to this section. And this comes right off. This comes right off. And you want to pile these on top of each other where they came off. Of course, this is the thing that generates all the air. Alright, now I have to take off the screws on the other side. And this will pull out. There's another bearing inside here. That's the one I usually replace. Alright. That nut on this side is a T20. There you go, T20. Those two nuts. This one and that puppy right there are T20s. Right. One hand motor. Oh, you bastard. The magnet didn't catch. T20. Yeah. Filming my pants. Worldwide pants. No, I'm not going to edit that out. Alright, that comes out. Don't really need to film this. You're just taking these out. It's not rocket science. Alright, gotta stop. Okay, when you're taking this apart, I tap this head to get it to move in a little, but you have to be aware of the electrical things. Those are being pressed into the motor. They're going to pop inwards, and you have to be very careful with those. You don't want to break that braided electrical. Don't spin this thing. Don't do anything. Just keep this thing straight where it's supposed to be, even though I just spun it, because you don't want to break those braids. The electrical braids go into these feelers for the magnetism. The other thing you could do is replace those, but I've never replaced any. They get low, but that's going to take quite a long time for those to wear out. And I have some extras. Alright, I'm going to finish taking this apart, because I can't do this on camera. I don't want to break those electrical connectors. And by the way, this motor is still friggin' hot from when I was showing it before. Alright. Those braids right there, you don't want to rip those off the motor, off the windings, going up to your feelers. You don't want to break those. Right now, this motor is being a pain in the ass. It won't pull out of the magnet. This is a big magnet in there, so it's stuck in there. Alright, so I'm going to have to turn this off again. I just wanted to show you those. Hold this. Don't let this drop and break those wires. I don't even know if you'd be able to solder those back. I mean, I suppose you could, but yeah, be careful of those. Okay, in order to get this motor apart, what I did is these metal springs that hold the magnets in, I forgot I always do this. I had to reach in like this. Reach in from here and pull them, stretch up the metal clip, and then I leave them attached up here. See how that one is attached up there? And then the other one attached there. I leave them like that, and then you can pull these out. You can slide those out. They come out of this hole here. And then this can come off. And I got this off. And then I was able to grab this motor and wiggle it and spin it and get it out. And like I said, yeah, the rear, so we can get this. Okay, I thought I was going to do some cheating. This is the bearing that was shot. The center's all blown out, and that's the outer part of the bearing stuck in there, which I'm going to have to cut to get out because there's no way to knock that out. I mean, I guess I could drill holes right there and then hammer it out. But I have another one where the bearing's not in there anymore. Yay! This is from another motor that I had. And of course, the center of the bearing is stuck on there. And this is the other one that was getting slammed. I'm not sure how to get this off. On this other side, I have a little trick that I use. And the trick I use, I put some, I forgot what it is, some sort of metal in there, in between there, and then I hold it in my clamp and just hit this center, and the bearing comes off. It's moving, isn't it? Why can't you just focus? God, I hate the iPhone. I gotta find a trick of how to get this one off. I could cut it. I gotta think of something because that lip is just so small. Alright, I'll figure something out. Okay, this setup seems to be working. I put it on the vice grips and onto my floor bench. I mean my vise, my bench vise, which in mine is a floor vise. I hit that with the hammer and it moved. I was expecting it to slam out of the vise. It moved. It's almost out. Now I'm gonna have to go to something smaller and get that out. I put this down here for when that thing comes flying out to bounce off this. All right, let's see. All right, as we see, that is still in the vise. That's pretty cool. And the bearing's off. Yeah, I think this only goes on a certain amount. I'm not sure how I'm going to press this into that other thing and onto this. And I'm wondering if I should take off this bearing because this bearing seems shot. Be cheap or fix it. Cheap, fix it. Cheap, fix it. I mean, this might be so worn out, it might not have a lot of power. Oh, well, give it a try. Alright. Let's see if we can hear this. You hear those bearings? Yeah, I gotta replace those. Those are shot. Yeah, those are shot. Yeah, what's better than saw blades? Old saw blades. There we go. Not gonna do this on camera. Well, I could have done it on camera because it was that fast. That came off. Alright. And I measured how far it was on there so I could put it back on correctly. Alright. And of course this one went sideways. And I'm going to use a 5/16 socket to hammer this on, hitting only the center. And get this side on. And as a reference, hammering it on, this is a bulb. That's the distance. That just barely fit. That's how much it goes on there. Get off. Where can I put this down? So many tools. So much shit going on. Alright. So, this side of that. Two. Get some focus. Alright. This spade just barely fits in there. It's a little wiggly, really fits in there. That's how far you gotta go. It's on. I actually don't think it goes on any farther. Let's give it a spin test. Excellent. Hey, no noise. And it's spinning forever. Fidget spinner, yay! Now, I'm not sure how I'm going to do the other side. Because the other side of the bearing needs to be pressed into that metal and pressed onto this. I guess. Yeah, I guess you just, yeah, I could, I'll press it in. Well, hammer it in with a socket. Yeah, I'll show you. Now I feel stupid because I just kink that right in there. Now it's in there. Now I have to get this on there, which shouldn't be hard. I should just be able to hit it with a hammer and get it to seat onto there. All right, that's in there. It goes in all the way up to its level. You'll see. It goes to it and then it stops. So that's in there. And that's spinning. I mean, I feel some resistance. I don't know why. And hopefully the inside magnet isn't all worn out. Because see, this is where it was hitting and sparking from being wobbling. Hopefully it's going to be okay. I'm fixing these vacuums for my daughter's business, and she needs one fixed for today. So hopefully this one works. This seemed like the easiest one to fix. Alright, when you're putting this back together, you have to be very careful getting this back into the motor. There's paper on the plastic or whatever, and you got to get it shimmed in there. Just keep wiggling and wiggling, and eventually it'll go in. Eventually it'll get in there. Make sure you don't forget this bearing, this spacer here. And when you're putting it in, make sure those metal feet, the little feelers, these feelers, make sure those are hanging out near these holes. And then you gotta like coalesce that top bearing to get into its holder here. And then you take these things and you insert them into their squares. And you push them, manually just push them all the way to the motor, and then you can flip the spring back in and make sure it clips into the middle. Clips into the middle of it there, so down there. And you do that on both sides. I should have replaced those, but you know, I don't know how. I don't have the means. Let's see, it's very small. And this motor, I mean, it doesn't sound perfect. Let's see if we can focus. I mean, I guess that's normal. I guess that's normal. I feel the magnet grabbing it. Alright, I'm going to test to see if this motor actually spins, which is kind of a joke because I already did it and I forgot to hold this and the fucking thing went spinning up in the air and I had to quickly turn off. Look, I didn't break any wires, but here. Let's hold it. No sparks. That sounds like a vacuum motor, right? Spin up. A little whiny. I think that's normal because it's such a high speed. A little bearingy, whatever. So now I just got to put it back together so it can suck air too. All right, that center bolts. There's really no way to hold it, so that's why I usually use the impact to get it on there. And it tightened up, but it didn't feel like it was too tight. So I never did this before. I just turned it on and it wasn't spinning, and then it caught, and because it's the bolt screws in the opposite direction from it spinning at such a high speed, it tightened the bolt down and grabbed the fan. So let's turn that on and show that that's working. Are we still recording? Yes. Still holding it. That's a lot of torque. I smell something, but I think that's because it was hitting the plastic, and that's a little hot up there. So that'll burn off or whatever to get that going. Or it could be because the feelers, the metal feelers that go on the motor, I might have, no, they look like they're the correct direction. And they use the same motor. Like if you change motors or something, those things wear into a certain pattern. They wear to the motor's pattern. I forget what you call those, the arms or whatever. They wear to the motor thing, and you know, whatever. Anyway, all right, I'm gonna put this back together. It feels like it's moving enough air, but you never know until you put it together. All right, when you put this metal back in, you put those even with that, and then you have to bend, dimple those back in, dimple, so those all stay back on there. On another note, I was able to get this bearing out. I knocked out the inner rubber seal, and then I got a smaller screwdriver, put it in there, stuck it under, and just twisted. And I went around, twisted, and it's almost out. So I went to a bigger one and started doing it. It'll be out any second, so I just thought I'd videotape it. Okay, there's one thing that I forgot when I do these, and I'm going to have to go take the other one apart. This is the second one. This upper bearing that you put on there, you can't put it on too far. It has to be so that this middle race, this little race thing, is sticking out above the plastic. See how it's sticking out above the plastic? Because then this washer gets put on there, and that washer sits on that race. If you put the bearing on too far, then this washer is going to start hitting this metal, and that's what I did on the other one accidentally, and it's starting to burn it because it wants to clamp to that race, not to the plastic. So I'm going to have to take the other one apart and move the bearing up off a little. Blah. Okay, something I overlooked when I originally took this one apart months ago. Under this bearing is this thing, and this is like a spring, and this goes in there and it holds the bearing and lets it push forward a little. I guess it gives a little forward back motion. So I had to take this one all the way apart again, and also fix this was on too far, and it could have been because this bearing was in too far, so it's going to push everything forward a little. Alright, so I wanted to make something clear. I finished fixing 4 more vacuums, and I have some extra parts. That's not what I wanted to show. And I know I was screwing up. These are brushes. This is, you want to be very wary of the brushes. Don't rip them off. This is tested okay. I don't remember when I got it off. Oh, it was a screwed up motor. I'm kind of an idiot. About a year ago, when I was fixing these, I put this bushing down too far and it was hitting the plastic and stinking like hell. And I went to go take off the screw and I couldn't get it off back then. But today I learned some new techniques to get it off. Unfortunately, I was jamming into the thing, hitting the threads, didn't know it, while the impact wrench was trying to do its job, and I stripped all the threads off. Oh well. Here's one of my brand new bearings. I might find a way to rethread this. Of course, they have to go reverse threads. At least that's an old bearing down there. But this motor was fine. Everything was fine, so that kind of sucks that happened. But I do have an extra one. Right here, old bearing. No bearing on the back, and I thought of a new thing, just to thread these screws on and get them nice and loose and loosey-goosey, poopy-doopy on there before I put them together, so that I don't have any cross threads or, crap going on. It sucks. But oh well. With all these parts, I can make one new one, but I'm going to have to use this with the brushes on it to fix that one there, because one of its brushes is really almost to nothing, and it's kind of crooked, and it keeps caking up, and when it cakes up, the motor it runs on and off. And here is something lovely. Someone else had attempted to fix these in the past, and they broke or cut the brushes off. So awesome. And I tested this. This test is fine. These wirings are working fine. So maybe I'll clamp on some new brushes or something. I don't know. But I really don't need it because I got that. But if I fix this, if I was to get brushes for this, then I can get that motor working again. Although I think I'm missing the clips for the brushes, because the jackass lost the clips too, the springs. Oh well. So anyway, I just wanted to point out that I do know their names. They're called brushes. I've known that, and it's kind of stupid. I know what the hell I'm doing. I really don't care if I know proper names. I do, but I just forget. And I forget because I really don't give a shit. Because I know what I'm doing. I know how to fix the shit, and I don't really give a fuck what I call it. I can't remember the name, and it doesn't mean anything to me. It's fixed it. It's done. It's put back together. Who cares what all the parts are called inside? So, that's my pile there. Oh yeah, that's one to see if there's the other part number. ch30000, ch30000. Part number of that. Could have swore one was called a 9000. Oh well, I'll put it in the description. So anyway, that's how you fix these. I mean, they're 120 brand new, but if you want to fix them, you just get these bearings, the ones that I show you. I'm down to 3. Down to 3 bearings. And fix them, because that's all that goes wrong with them is the bearings. The bearings go bad. Why spend 120 bucks when you could just replace the bearings? Oh, and they also break the electrical cable. The cleaners, the employees. That's it. The motor will last forever, just the bearings won't. Alrighty then.